Sometimes I feel like I've already seen everything that's gonna happen, and it's a nightmare.
Anthony, Joe, hello.
Jeff, I love your
How you doing,
background.
Jeff?
I'm doing good, guys. I've waited so long to get in front of you guys to talk to you, and this is a real thrill and an honor. And I watched Cherry, and I kept thinking to myself, do I talk about direction, music, the performances? And I thought to myself, I'm gonna take the honest approach, meaning that I've lived with a heroin addict for the last 2 years, and it has been a nightmare. And it was a real struggle to get through the last hour of Cherry because it hit so close to home for me. But it was the most truthful portrayal I've seen of an addict. And unless you live that life, you don't understand what what that means. And I could not believe what Tom Holland's performance was, and Ciara. And there were so many things in the movie that struck me. And he's died in front of me, my friend, 4 or 5 times. 2 weeks ago being the latest. And so it's just a truthful film. And and one scene that really sticks out for me is that when Emily's laying almost near death in the hospital and Cherry goes out to his truck and shoots up. That's not an exaggeration. My friend would be discharged from the emergency room. He would use in the bathroom multiple times. And by the time I got home, he was high. So your movie has so many things in it that speaks to a specific audience, but the nightmare of an addiction.
Yeah, and that's look,
amazing to hear.
yeah, it's an incredible story, and we have personal experience with it as well. People very close to us are struggling with sobriety and have issues with opioids, and family members have died. We've stood over their graves and put them in the ground because of opioid addiction. It's a tragic crisis that we're in the middle of. That's only getting worse. There were more deaths in 2020 than there ever have been because of opiates. So, this was a very personal movie for us to make, and it is triggering for people, and we should warn them. But it's triggering for a reason, is we wanted and felt a duty and a responsibility to convey addiction and PTSD with a level of realism and a level of detail so that people understand how complex it is. And, one of the ex-addicts who was a consultant on our set said to us, he said, listen, I'm just going to explain this to you. When you are hooked on heroin, the only thing you can think about is, where am I getting more heroin? And that is it. And your life just becomes, yeah.
Absolutely. My friend would say, I want to use. He'd be clean for a week and he'd come to me, I want to use. And the bus station scene was very prominent in the movie for me, because she's like, I'm going to get high with or without you. No logic, no reason. He was like, look, get back on the bus, go back to rehab, which my friend has been in many times. And I told him, it's a lifelong struggle. You're never just going to wake up one day. You're always like smoking, like any addiction. You're going to always fight it. But that bus station scene, that hit hard on too.
Well, to hear you talk about your friend, look, it was, like Joe was saying, it was so important. We felt a huge level of responsibility to be as authentic and truthful to these experiences as possible. Now, we also wanted to leave the movie with a sense of hope. We tried to hit that at the end of the film. The idea that you can survive these experiences, you can find a way to get clean, you can find a way to maintain the human connection the true human connection that you have with other people. But part of what we also tried to do at the end of the film is not make it too easy. While Cherry and Emily do have a cathartic moment at the end of the movie where they see one another after many years of incarceration for Cherry, and they're both still alive, and they both still have some level of feeling and connection with one another, and you experience that, you don't know where that relationship is going to go from that moment. You don't know where those characters are going to go. It is a lifelong struggle, like you're saying. And those characters, at the end of this film, while there is a sense of hope, there could also be a very difficult road still ahead of them. But this is the struggle.
Well, guys, thank you for such an honest film. Cherry breaking the fourth wall, using opera as a tragedy. Tell Tommy was incredible. We're out of time. Thank you both for joining me today. It's been a true thrill.
Thanks, Jeff.
That was a really meaningful conversation. Thank you for that.